And we have a race here running between Mayor Mark Boughton and my next guest right here, Mr. Almedia, who is running on a Democratic ticket. Now, I've been following the Danbury local scene. I think I started Hat City Blog back in 2005. So it's been several campaign cycles, and I can tell you that the last candidate that was endorsed by the Danbury Democratic Town Committee for mayor was actually, in my opinion, Gary Goncalves back in 2009. Now I know a lot of people say, wait a second, Lynn Tabersack ran for mayor also, but Lynn Tabersack was the chairperson of the Danbury Democratic Town Committee, and she basically did a very honorable thing and decided to throw her hat in the ring because they couldn't find a candidate. So although she did technically run for mayor, it, in my opinion, really wasn't a candidate as somebody who came and they were endorsed by the town committee and they ran for office. And I know some people say, wait a second, Mr. McAllister ran for office also in 2013. Well, yes, he did run for office in 2013, but again, he was not a candidate that came from the Danbury Democratic Town Committee. The town committee did not actually have a candidate. He came afterwards. So in 2015, there wasn't a candidate for mayor. The Danbury Democrats didn't have a candidate, but now it's 2017, fast forward, and now we have a candidate who is actually running for mayor, who was endorsed by the Danbury Democratic Town Committee, and he is making his case for the top seat for the 7th largest city in the state of Connecticut. This is Mr. Almedia. Good seeing you.
Al, nice meeting you.
All right.
Nice seeing you again.
Right. Yeah, it's been a little while, but you are running for office. So my first question for you right off the bat is, why are you running for office?
Well, as you were discussing things with Selectman Knickerbocker, and you being a parent, you understand that we have one of the most important investments we have in our society, in our city, and that is our property.
Right.
And one of the reasons I'm running is that I'm not seeing a good return on our investment in the last 16 years. The other part of it too is that you talked about quality of life earlier. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what my theme of my campaign is developing a desire of Danbury, which is all about quality of life. So there's other things going on that made me to to come out and challenge the current administration.
All right. Well, again, like I went with the first selectman, I'm going to do the same thing with you. I'm going to talk. This is the new Al Robinson, new reborn Al Robinson. And I like to talk from the point of view of a parent who has 2 small kids. There are a lot of people in Danbury who are parents with 2 kids, getting them through the school system, homeowners. And they have a lot of the same concerns. They want to know that their schools are okay. They want to know if their roads are paved, they're plowed, the quality of life is okay. And but unlike Bessel, another big thing, the top topic that I hear, one of the top concerns that I hear, no matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, no matter what your race is, no matter what your tax bracket is, everybody talks about downtown Danbury.
Okay.
All right. They want to know what's going on with downtown Danbury. What is the vision from these candidates, Boughton and yourself, in terms of what are we going to do in terms of revitalizing downtown Danbury and make that a destination point as it was prior to the opening of the Danbury Fair Mall. So what do you think about downtown Danbury? What are your concerns about downtown Danbury? What do you see that is good about it? What do you see that is not so good about it? And what is your vision for that section of the city?
Well, it's funny you say that because it's been one of my hot topics. Although education for me is most important, mm-hmm. because it doesn't matter what goes on in the city. Bringing new businesses and bringing quality corporations, companies into Danbury, one of the first things they look at is education.
Right.
But let's go talk about downtown. Downtown to me is, in the past 16 years, has been a failure. The current administration has no vision, is not innovative, and is definitely lacking maintenance downtown. Again, it's a return of our investment, okay? What I like about downtown is there's a great potential down there, especially with our diversity community. One of my plans is to, believe it or not, is to build a boutique hotel, a small hotel downtown. Why? Well, if you being a graduate from WestConn and me being a graduate from WestConn, we have students there that come from all parts of the state of Connecticut to outside other states. Parents like to visit their children in college. What do we have downtown for hotels that parents can spend time with, other than driving back and forth, which is another problem, traffic congestion.
Right, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So it's a creation of a lot of things. So by having a hotel downtown, now what you're doing is you're giving an opportunity to the parents and the students from WestConn to integrate themselves, to see themselves, spend time downtown, and do business in our businesses downtown.
Yeah, I guess I guess one of the things you're trying to get across is that if you have a hotel downtown, you have people downtown, that increases pedestrian traffic, which will be an economic base for.
Correct, and as you know, I've only been in Connecticut. I've only been in Danbury for 46 years. And prior to my coming here, there was a hotel downtown. So it's not a new concept. It's just it brings different type of businesses downtown. The other part I want to do is that now that we have Naugatuck Community College down there, right now our students in the community college have no connection to downtown. There's nothing there to keep them downtown for a while. They come to school, they go home. They come to school, there's nothing to share. So I would like to even possibility put in either a fast food restaurant, either a Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, whatever it is, to enticing people to go downtown to it. The other part of it too, I would love to use the News Times building, which is being up for sale. Mm-hmm. I would like to turn that building into something like Quincy Market in Boston, or Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, that create small little businesses that brings people walking to that type of business. So I have a plan in place, a comprehensive plan. I'm not going to spill my beans here, okay? Mm-hmm. But that's just part of it. I mean, you got to think outside the box.
Right.
You got to be innovative. I like the green area. I might want to, with all those concerts that we have, maybe eliminate some of that green, put some coffee tables down there, secure them to the ground. Maybe work with the Army Corps of Engineers and see what we can do with Still River. There's numerous great potential downtown Danbury to become a true dining and entertainment district.
Okay. Well, now, I've been away from the scene for a while, but I do recall 10 years ago, in 2007, around that time period, that the mayor proposed his vision for one of his major components for his vision of downtown Danbury was to bring residential development down there, and through a series of tax incentives and tax breaks on properties, I guess you can call it. Mm-hmm. BRT established a place on Crosby Street, and then BRT had the property on Kennedy, but later sold it to another developer. His idea was that by spurring residential development downtown, that would spur more pedestrian traffic down there, that would bring in more businesses to that area. Now we're in 2017, which is basically about 10 years later, although the place on Kennedy just came online probably about a couple of years ago. What are your thoughts on his vision for downtown Danbury in terms of bringing residential development? Do you think we've seen any progress in it? Do you see what do you see positive? What do you see negative from that, if anything?
So living in Danbury for 46 years, what I would like to do in the Kennedy property, Kennedy Avenue property, was really to build a minor league baseball stadium. Okay, that would bring a lot of people into the downtown area. The fact it didn't work that way, and the mayor decided to go with luxury apartments, it is what it is, and we have to deal with it. But what I think that he miscalculated, or he calculated, but he didn't really, is not important to him, is that traffic congestion, more traffic congestion, okay, creating more overcrowded schools. So not being proactive and taking care of those issues prior to building is a concern of mine. But We have to live with it. It's there. I don't agree giving, a free property tax while me and you are taking the burden of that. Okay, that part of the tax-free property was more oriented to businesses that, for example, where Cardis was doing their extension. The previous administration gave them a free property tax. Why? Because it was going to create quality jobs. What quality jobs was created through these developments? Nothing.
All right. So we talked about education a little bit. I know that's a big issue. As a parent, a lot of people I know are always concerned about the quality of education for their kids. They want to make sure they're going to the best schools, and they're very in tune in their schools. What are your opinions about the Danbury school system? What do you see that's going good? What do you see that's not going good? And what would you do if elected mayor to address any concerns that are happening in the education system?
So, the state budget is always a problem, okay? And I will, as mayor, I will continue to fight the state to get our share of our ECS money. As the 7th largest city, we have in our high school, we have 50-some different languages being spoken, very diversity. That's why people come to Danbury to live, to integrate with the diversity. One of the greatest qualities we have in our education is we have some awesome teachers. Okay, look at what Morris Street has just accomplished.
Right.
But see, that's a good example. Morris Street, when you put the proper resources into an education, into a school, you get the same exact output as Morris Street did. Mm-hmm. So, the current administration in the last 6 years has cut the Board of Education funding from about 3%. So the budget is decreasing, enrollment is up, and our property taxes are up.
All right. Well, real quick, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, is this Marty Heiser's show?
Yes, it is.
Yes, is Mr. Almedia, who's running for Danbury mayor. Is he on the show?
Yes, he is. You're right. You're talking to him right now. You have a question?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank him for his military service. I think that's a very important thing to do. And the question I have is about the state budget. Today is 111 days into the new fiscal year, and we still don't have a state budget. My question is the importance of the state budget, and do you think that if nothing gets done soon, that come election time, the average Joe voter is going to go into the polls and say, hey, let's kick the incumbents out. Let's get them out of there, because they haven't done enough to get this, this budget crisis resolved. And I think Mr. Looney, Senator Looney, is a big kingpin because he is a very powerful man in the Senate. And if he does not okay a Republican bill, that bill will never get onto the floor for a vote. So I'm just, I'm just an average Joe. I live in Connecticut. And I was talking to Congresswoman Estes' office today about it. By law, she cannot intervene because it's a state matter. I was talking to the mayor's office about this today. And I will do everything in my power to push the state politicians to resolve in this matter. But anyway, again, I want to thank the candidate for his military service, and I'll hang up, and I hope he can say something about the state budget and we can get it solved soon. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, that's a great question and a great thing he was talking about. And I want you to address that real quick, but real quick back on education. One of the big things that the mayor talked about was the ECS funding dilemma. Do you agree with the mayor that we're not getting our fair share of the money from the state in terms of ECS funding?
I agree with the mayor. But I don't agree with his numbers. His numbers is a little bit different, especially when he was willing to assign the Republican budget, where would the city of Danbury would be less, $5 million less towards our education. And on top of that is that each teacher would end up paying $1,500 a year towards the state's general fund, not even to their pension plan. So I have a problem. Him being an educator should understand that. So having said that, both the governor's proposal budget is not a shining star either. There's some defaults there too on both sides. But at least Danbury would have gotten an additional $2 million on funding for our education under his proposal budget. In reference to the caller, I appreciate thank you for your support. As a veteran, we can't do anything without the support of the public, and that's great. As a mayor, I'm going to continue to work with our state legislators representing Danbury and Hartford to make sure that we get our share of the money, and to that we need to move forward whatever they need to do at the state level to get that money back to the city.
Yeah, because we have a dilemma at the state level right now where we still don't have a budget, and that impacts municipalities.
True.
I think there was talk that Moody's was talking about lowering some of the credit bond ratings for some of the municipalities because of this situation. And you know, the train wreck that we have in Hartford definitely has a huge impact on us in many ways. So yeah, it is critical that we get our fair share because we send a lot of money up to Connecticut. Up to Hartford. We should be getting a lot back in return.
I agree, Al, and that's where we need to go back into our budget and be creative and be steward of our money, how we spend our money. So that's that return on our investment.
All right. Now, you're walking around a lot. I'm sure you worn a lot of sneakers and hitting all the wards.
And I lost a lot of weight.
Lost a lot of weight. Hey, running works out.
Come on with me, Al. Come on out with me.
So, you've been hitting the doors, talking to people. You know, in my time away from politics, I got to talk to a lot of people, got a much different point of view about Greater Danbury. What have you heard about on your talking to residents in the 7 wards of Danbury, and what's the feedback you got in terms of their concerns, and what would you do in terms of helping out the people that you talk to on the campaign trail?
So as I knock on the doors, there's a lot enthusiasm going on through the site. There's a big buzz going on in the city. The fact that I'm running and representing, you know, a good change, a possibility of good change. The biggest concerns that the citizens in Danbury is taxes. They feel the same way I do. Is that property tax has been increased for 16 years, every year that this administration has been in office. And they look at it and they're also not seeing a return on their investment, especially when their roads are got all kinds of potholes. It's been paved, not paved, but you know, the potholes has been fixed 3 times this year, okay? There's some of them have kids in our school systems. They're concerned with the overcrowd, and a lot of them work outside of Danbury, so traffic congestion is another issue. So there's many things going on, and that's why I want to focus on stabilizing our property taxes. I want to invest in our education, both in the classroom and in infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Matt talked about solar panels. Yeah. I'm big on that. As you know, I'm still in the Army Reserves. Mm-hmm. And we manage over 262 Army Reserve buildings throughout the 13th state, Northeast state. The Army itself is going into solar panels. They're putting solar panels in the parking lot, like a port where the car can park underneath, and solar panels can. So there's a lot of things going on, and I believe in the solar panels. I think it cuts a lot of the energy, and it's very energy efficient. Right. So. Again, I want to talk about paving roads, not just in election years, every year, okay? Work on the infrastructure, and I also wanted to be the voice of the city of Danbury to bring quality growth and quality jobs into Danbury. Okay.
Now, many people will say, hey, it's Alameda, you never held political office for anything else. Why do you feel that you can run for mayor? What qualifications do you have, do you think you have, that you can run a city that has over a $200 million budget? So I throw that out at you. You haven't held, at least to the best of my knowledge, any other positions in public office. Why do you feel that you, with no political experience in terms of Danbury, can run a city which is like the 7th largest city in the state of Connecticut?
Good question, Al, and I would tell you I am more qualified than the current mayor was when he took office. And the reason is I've been a leader in the Army for over 35 years, okay? Currently, I manage, or my team manages over a $220 million budget that provides administrative logistics and maintenance for over 43,000 soldiers in 13 different states, okay? So, and that's part of getting them ready to go and defend our freedom, okay? So there's a big, in reality, I'm already doing the job. The only thing I have to do is just get rid of the camouflage suit, okay, and put a tie and a suit on. So the reality is the same thing, is managing people, leading people, okay? And you have the right team, good things will happen.
All right. So again, you've been walking around the whole city. What's one of the great things that you've learned in talking to people across the city about this city?
I've really gotten the appreciation of the citizens, of our residents in Danbury. There's some great people out there, and very intelligent people. You know, it's not just me hearing their concerns. You know, I even asked them, what would you do if you were the mayor? And they gave me some great ideas, and I put that in my pocket. It's in my pocket, those ideas that I want to utilize to, you know, when I become mayor. So I'm really excited for Danbury. You know, I got to thank my family for, you know, for all their support to do this on a daily basis. But I'm excited for Danbury, and I hope that, and I do believe that we'll have a change in November 7th.
All right. Now, you brought up another topic that I want to touch as many topics as possible. You talked about traffic. Now, let's say it's Friday at 5 o'clock on White Street. You know what's happening there. Nothing but traffic from White Street to Newtown Road going on to the interstate. Especially if there's traffic on 84, all the traffic dives off into Route 6, which is like, again, White Street into Newtown Road going there. Traffic's always been a big issue here. Talk to anybody who's dealing with the construction down there on North Street, although it's a state road, but you know, traffic's always a huge problem. What are your ideas about traffic? What do you see you can do as mayor to address that top situation?
There's a couple of things. One, we definitely need to do a citywide comprehensive traffic evaluation. We might have, it hasn't been done since I believe the late 90s, or before around 2000, 1999, 2000 from my understanding. That's when the last time when they changed Maple Avenue and Balfourth Avenue to one-way streets. After that, I think the current administration has changed Foster Street because of parking on both sides. That's the right thing to do. You know, a good example is that when you make some of these roads one way, it keeps the traffic moving. Why? It doesn't pollute the air. It saves time for the commuter, and it also saves fuel. Okay. The other part of it is that we have to look at how can we look at initiatives or other ideas or innovative ideas out of mass transit. You know, maybe we need to look at, you know, what would it cost, what grants are available, either both the state and federal government, to where we can connect the rail line between Danbury and Brewster.
I was going to bring that topic up also because I think rail is a big issue. It's always been a big concern in this area, and that's one of your ideas for rail is to try to connect the New Haven line onto the Harlem line.
I have to get smarter on it and then look into it. I know that's been discussed in the past a long time ago. I wanted to dust off that study and see what needs to be done. I've been told that the state had money at the time and the city didn't have the money, so. Again, we have to look at it, but that's a possibility. But again, maybe more carpooling or whatever it is. But we need to fix this traffic congestion. I mean, I'll give you an example. Today, I had to take my dad to the doctor on 57 North Street, and then I had to pick up a stepchild on Great Plain Road, on Great Plain School. It took me 45 minutes.
Yeah, the back roads to the back roads.
Even the back roads to the road is 45 minutes.
Right. Yeah. That, as a person who has two small kids, I'm just basically the taxi service, and I know about commuting around.
You know
this
what
area.
it is? You know, our cars are more economic today. The fuel is not that expensive, so more people are in tune to purchase a motor vehicle rather than do mass transit. But we need to better mass transit. We need a better mass transit. For a 7th largest city, I mean, the Heart Bus does a pretty good job, okay? But I think we need something else or expand the Heart Bus.
All right, well, look, a couple more quick topics and we'll wrap things up. I know one of the issues that happened over the summer was, and I think it will come up a lot more as we go forward, is the OTB situation downtown, gambling coming back to Danbury again. I remember a time when they wanted to build a casino in this area, and Mayor Blount was very adamant to say, look, we don't want gambling in this area. Fast forward now, we have an opportunity, at least in my opinion, Pandora's box has been opened up a little bit because we're allowing OTB gambling in the downtown area, which, in my opinion, can open things up to other stuff down the road. What is your opinion about OTB gambling and gambling in general in Danbury?
Gambling is gambling. I mean, legalized gambling, we do that every day. As long as we play Powerball or Keno or whatever, that's gambling in itself. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really made a decision on the OTB. I know what kind of clientele the OTB brings. Okay, I also have seen OTBs that it's like Atlantic City, outside Atlantic City. Okay, but in reality, I have not really made a decision. Is it part of the entertainment and dining district? I don't think so. It doesn't fit that way. I'm concerned from that perspective, having 3 schools in the same region where it's being proposed. My concern is not the location. Well, it is the location in the sense of the colleges. I'm more concerned about zoning, approving it, and a lot for just not one location, but various locations if Sport Tech decided to open up other locations.
Yeah, it seems like it'll open up to we can open ourselves up to future situations where we'll have other forms of gambling, but we'll see how that goes down the road.
I'm very surprised that the mayor has not spoken out publicly about it, either in favor or so I don't know what what the strategy is. But another issue in our area is the Kennewood Lake Authority with the weeds out, with New Fairfield's trying to pull.
Right.
He's being quiet on that too.
Well, that's another big issue. But we're running out of time, so I wish we could have more time to talk. Maybe we'll do some more interviews in the future. But real quick, I want to make sure you get your plug in. So if people want more information about you, where you stand on your issues, or want to find more information about you in general, where can they go to on the internet?
They can go to my website, which is www.al4mayor.com, and there's all kinds of information there. There's a point of contact, phone, social media, you name it.
All right. Well, look, great to see you. I'll see you on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much.
Good talking to you.